Today we're going to be talking about what is wrong with youth sports. I think this is a common topic that so many people talk about. Youth sports, daddy ball, kids not getting playtime. So we're going to talk about some of the main problems that I see with youth sports after working with thousands of youth athletes every single year, and how you guys can address those problems, fix those problems, and make sure you avoid some of these key mistakes. So there are really 4 mistakes that I see with youth sports, whether even in other sports like football, baseball, basketball. Mainly football is what I know, but we're going to go over these 4 mistakes, talk in depth about each one of them and how you guys can avoid them, and then we'll talk about how you guys can be on the positive side of these mistakes, because every athlete, no matter what, you're going to have to face these types of things if you are a youth athlete. When you get to high school, these things can start to stop. Obviously, when you get to college, these things are non-existent, but these are some of the struggles that youth parents and youth athletes have to deal with. So the first one is going to be daddy ball, right? So daddy ball, especially at youth sports, I think one of the main problems with youth sports is that there's really no certification to coach football, which is interesting because there are a lot of other sports that require a certain certification. I'm not talking like CPR, like first aid certifications. I'm talking about a general knowledge of the game certificate or knowledge of the game certification. And so a lot of times what you get with these youth football teams is dads coaching the football teams, right? Or moms. And honestly, I don't think that that's bad. I think it's great that dads want to be involved with their kids' sports, and that's something that, if I had kids, I would obviously want to do. I would obviously want to be involved in some way. But the thing is that a lot of times their kids get the preferential treatment. Their kids get put into the quarterback position, the receiver position, the starting role without them even actually having to earn that position. Now, with that being said, I don't think that that's as common as everybody makes it seem to be. I think everybody loves to throw that excuse out there of, oh, it's daddy ball. Oh, the only reason he's playing is because he's the kid's son. Guys, there are situations like that, but 90% of the time, I would say, that coach's kid is extremely hardworking. He's very, very respectful. He's not a knucklehead type kid. He works his tail off, and he's actually better than the competition that's around him. So I would say that daddy ball isn't as common, but that is a problem with youth sports, and I think that a lot of people need to understand, or a lot of parents need to understand, that that's not teaching the kids anything. I think it should be the best guys play, because that's how it's going to be in real life. Whether it's the workforce, whether you're playing a sport in college, whether you're playing a sport professionally even, it's going to be who's the best guy, and the best guy's going to play. And it doesn't teach your kid anything if he just gets this starting role and he doesn't have to actually earn it. And I really mean earning it. Now, with that being said, kind of building off of that, I think another problem with youth sports is the delusion of parents with daddy ball. I think a lot of times, and I talk to a lot of parents all over the country. We travel all over the place for our camps, and a big portion of our camp, 50% of the camp, is youth, right? So we're talking to a lot of parents. We hear about all these experiences, and a lot of times, parents will come up to me and be like, well, he didn't get a chance to play this year. He didn't get as much play time because, oh, well, the coach's kid was ahead of him. Now, the thing is that I'll pay attention to those kids, and when it comes down to it, they're just not the greatest. They're just not the best players on the field, and that's just being real, and that's just me being honest. So I think a lot of delusion is ruining youth sports and ruining youth sports for kids. I think parents think that their kids are just the greatest athletes in the world without actually understanding hey, maybe my son needs to improve. Maybe he isn't God's gift to the game. Maybe he needs to improve with his speed, his footwork, his skills, his strength, all of those things. So you need to honestly look at yourself, because I think that's the best way to help your kids improve, and that's what teaches them the most about things in life. You need to sit your kids down and be like, hey, listen, you're not playing because you're not doing this, this, and this. So you can either quit and not improve in these areas, or you can improve in these areas, and then now we got something, and it's going to make them a better player for it. Now, with all of that being said, I think the third problem with youth sports, just in general, is the pressure to win at a youth level. So I can't stand all of the youth teams bragging about, oh, we're going to Florida, we won this championship, we won that championship, oh, well, my guys, we're going to put together this super team so we could go play in Florida. All that's great. I'm one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet, and I love to win, and I hate losing, and that's why you play anything, is you play to win. But we need to honestly look at what youth sports is actually about, and we're trying to improve youth athletes to make them better in high school, right? What's the goal here? You know what I mean? Do you want your kids to just play and have fun? Okay, that's one thing, right? If you're taking sports serious, which most people watching this I would assume are, you want your kid to develop. If he's 11, 12 years old, you want him to improve as much as possible from 11, 12, 12, 13, so 14 when he gets to high school, when it actually matters, he has a chance to play on varsity early, plays on varsity, does well on varsity, can get some recruiting attention from varsity sports, and then be able to get a scholarship and go pay, and then all of a sudden you don't have to pay for college, right? And that should be the goal for youth athletes as well. You kind of have to see the path and see the vision of things. So I think a lot of people put so much pressure on like winning now, winning now, winning now, and they don't take the time to develop the kids. If I coached a youth team, we would spend the majority of the time on development, improving their skills, improving play concepts, taking things slow. It wouldn't be a massive playbook. We're not trying to go travel here and travel there. We're just trying to get better week in and week out, and I think that's how it should go, right? And then last but not least, I think another problem is just parents ruining it for the kids from like a pressure of like the whole NIL craze. I can't, like, I've seen so much crap on social media these past couple years with these, like, you know, 9-year-old, 10-year-old prodigies where you could tell it's their parents running their account and they're posting all this stuff and they're trying to get clout and clicks and likes and all of that. And I really think that parents need to take a step back and understand that it's not about that, and that if you're a good enough football player, all that stuff will come. Like, it's a little like, you know, I guess you could say hypocritical for me to talk about social media because we post so much stuff on social media, but it's like, it should be about the kids. Like, if your kid doesn't care, then maybe don't post that type of stuff. And I get it, you're trying to look out for his best interest, but like, what's it really about? Because I think so many people focus on the show and the film and this, rather than focusing on the meat and the potatoes, which is like at them actually working out, getting better, improving their skills, because that's what it comes with. You could have 1 million followers, but if you can't throw a football or catch a ball, then it really doesn't matter. So I would say parents need to take a step back in that respect and focus more on the development of kids as well, paying for their training, putting them in a gym, putting them in a good program, rather than focusing so much on social media and this sponsorship and this. We're building a social profile, so when he gets to college, he's going to get NIL, whatever. And I get it. I understand. It's a big opportunity, but I just think parents need to put their mindset, their money, and their energy into other things. So those are the main problems I see with youth sports across every level. But how can you avoid those problems? And that's what we're going to talk about next. Now, fellas, like we mentioned earlier, we travel all across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So if you guys would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches for 2 full days, like we mentioned, check out that very first link in the description below. We are going to be coming out to 13 states for the remainder of this year. We will be coming out to Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas. Then we'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Newark, New Jersey. Then we'll be coming out to Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, and finishing off the tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you're local to any one of those cities, we would love to have you out. So check out that very first link in the description below if you'd like to sign up to work with us. Now, I would say there's really 2 main things that you can do to avoid all of those mistakes and all of those problems that we listed with youth sports. Number 1 is going to be picking the right fit for your youth team. I would say, like, if you're at a young age and you have the flexibility to be able to go to multiple teams, to be able to go like, okay, I don't like this situation, I can go here. I would try to pick the best fit for your son, for yourself, from a developmental standpoint. I think a lot of people choose like whatever team is maybe the best, or whatever team, you know, like has a tradition of, you know, really good talent or really good players. But if your kid's not developing, your kid's not playing, I don't recommend the situation. Remember, at the end of the day, it is about development, especially for youth athletes. So that's the first thing I would say. Second thing I would say is make your kids earn it. Or you should have the mindset, if you're a kid watching this, that I am going to earn it. I think we learn nothing as athletes if everything is handed to us. I think a lot of athletes run from competition. I think a lot of parents run from competition, and everybody has this entitlement attitude, like, okay, because my son plays quarterback, he's entitled to start on whatever team that he goes to. I think that's a terrible message to send kids. I think it's a terrible attitude to have if you are a kid. I think what you need to focus on is actually earning it. So go run towards competition. If you're going to be in a situation where there's fair competition on both sides, and you as a player have to battle for a specific spot, there's no bias, there's no politics, there's no nothing, it's just you guys competing, go towards that. Because when you get to high school, you're going to have to compete. When you get to college, you're going to have to compete every single day. And anything that you do after after that, you're gonna have to compete every single day. So if you learn those lessons now, if you learn those lessons early as a kid, that's only gonna help you out, because that's what we're doing. We're playing a long game. It doesn't matter if you start as an 11-year-old. What matters is you start as a 15-year-old, and if you can play on varsity and how much better you actually get until that point. But if you can focus on those two things, I really think you can eliminate all these mistakes and all these problems in youth sports that we mentioned earlier.